Marsha Taylor had come to grips with the reality of her life with Parkinson's. It wasn't really a secret. Her tremors gave her away sometimes. So for this flight, she traded up for more space and a first-class seat.
I thought with my leg having tremors, it's going to make the person in front of me mad when I'm bumping into his chair, or the person next to me.
This one small decision was about to change the course of her life.
So I was sitting in the seat, and this gentleman comes and sits down beside me, and we said hello, and I told him about my foot, if my foot was, bouncing around. I had tremors in it. But, he said, oh, no problem. And then we started talking. He said, you can't even tell you have Parkinson's. And I said, well, I do. And I said, it's been, getting a little worse. And he said, well, I own a company called NeuroAnimation. And he said, I am a neuroscientist. And I thought, oh my.
Call it what you will, coincidence or divine intervention. But that chance encounter in the sky brought Marsha to NeuroAnimation and a life filled with hope again. There is a story before that and before NeuroAnimation, and it starts with a couple and one super cute Havanese pup named Cooper. Marsha and her husband Harry were healthy and active. Time spent outdoors was their favorite. They also loved time spent together, creating intricate doll houses that they then would donate to charity. But something seemed off to Marsha, and it started with her hand.
This finger used to just go like this. And I wondered what was wrong with it, and I asked my family doctor, and she said, oh, it's probably just a little tremor. And then my thumb started. So I went back to the doctor, and I said, look, something's wrong. And so I went for an MRI, and she sent me to this neurologist, and he said, you have Parkinson's. And it was just like, you have Parkinson's, oh well. Parkinson's was a shock. So, but my husband was very sweet. He said to me when, we were leaving the doctors, he said, you don't have Parkinson's, we have Parkinson's. That was a big help.
Marsha's physical Colorado lifestyle was important to her, but she couldn't keep Parkinson's at bay.
I remember one night being in bed, and I didn't know how to stop this, and I had it, my head was going like this, and that's when it started getting hard.
Things got even harder in life for Marsha as her love, Harry, lost a valiant battle with cancer. So Marsha decided to pack up and move to be closer to family. And that move meant a different neurologist.
When I moved to Ohio, I had to find a new doctor, of course, and I did. And the symptoms were getting worse. I was told that, oh, you'll be in a wheelchair someday. And that really hit hard because I don't think along those lines. And, when people want to sit down and talk about Parkinson's, I don't want to talk about it. I want to talk about what's going on today and not what's in the future.
So she took a chance on NeuroAnimation at the suggestion of her friendly seatmate that day on that flight to visit a friend. And that man is Dr. Omar Ahmad, a neuroscientist and the founder of NeuroAnimation. Describe NeuroAnimation for people.
So what happens is we activate a part of the hippocampus, which then starts to create new neurons, actually. The intensity with which we're causing the brain to learn new things is something that you can't do outside of this center. So we put someone in a room, cameras are tracking them, they're now connected to our signature neuroanimals, and their brain is in a hyper state of learning. And it's in that process that they develop true neuroplasticity that really can't occur outside of an activity like we provide.
And Marsha started her boot camp, and her specialist, Caden, met her to begin her journey.
He walks down the hall with his big smile on his face that just kind of does something to you. And so he took me back, and we talked, and he took me through did some tests and that you do the first day when you're there. And I was still, a little leery. And even when he would say, "Oh, that's a great job," I would think, "Are you just telling me that?" Because you have to tell me that. And so by day 3, I started to notice little things, and it was just amazing. Havanese Collie Chihuahua. I noticed my tremors were slowing down. One day I was in the theater. I looked at my hand and it was, not shaking. And I looked over at Caden and I said, "Did you see that?" And he said, "I noticed a while ago." And I was so excited. And the other thing that happened is my handwriting was terrible. It got to the point where I could not read it, but I'm a list person. I still have to write something down. I went home one day from there and there was a pad on the island and I was writing things down and I thought, I can understand that. I know what it says.
This gave Marsha hope that she could return to the intricate crafts, sewing, quilting, and other activities that Parkinson's was taking away. Marsha dove in and continued to see her symptoms improve. She loved each day at NeuroAnimation and the environment there.
They were just so encouraging, and it was like, the bar where everybody knows your name. I felt like I was in the consolidation room where everyone knew my name. And it just made you feel good, that people cared.
There's an energy at this center that when you walk through the doors, you feel it. And what it comes from are coaches, myself, all the staff, seeing people recover things they were told they cannot recover. And it creates such an environment of motivation and hope. This, I think, is the greatest achievement of my own career.
And for Marsha, she's now able to return to doing things she used to do before Parkinson's.
It's like with the dollhouses, that was just a great hobby because my husband and I did that together. And it was something where when I was working on that dollhouse, I got so lost in it, I didn't think about anything else. And so I have not worked on it for 2 or 3 years. And I feel now that I want to go back and work on it because my hands will allow me to do that.
And even more importantly, she now has something she didn't have before, and she was able to make that reminder with her own steady hands.
I feel like NeuroAnimation changed my life and gave me hope.
NeuroAnimation, the brain regained.